Have you ever felt that sense of being completely overwhelmed? Like your thoughts are a rushing, turbulent river, overflowing its banks and carrying you away. Maybe it's in the middle of the night when you're lying awake, and every worry, big or small, seems to surface. Or perhaps it's before a big presentation, a social event, or even just facing a busy day. Your mind races, jumping from one what if to the next, and it feels like you're drowning in a sea of anxieties. Each thought crashes into the next, building and building until you're caught in this relentless current. Ever feel like your mind is a runaway train of worries? Like you have no control over where it's going or how fast? It's exhausting, isn't it? This feeling, this river of worry, is something we all experience. But what if there was a different way to navigate it? What if, instead of being swept away, we could learn to flow with the current? Taoism offers a beautiful and surprisingly practical perspective on dealing with this inner turmoil. It introduces us to concepts like Ziran and Di. Think of Ziran as naturalness or spontaneity. It's about accepting things as they are, the inherent flow of life. Imagine a tree in a strong wind. It doesn't rigidly resist. It bends, it sways, allowing the wind to pass through. That's Ziran. Then there's Di, which we can understand as virtue or inherent character, living in accordance with your true nature and the natural order of things. Think of a skilled craftsman working with a piece of wood. They don't force the wood into something it's not. They understand its grain, its unique qualities, and work with it to bring out its inherent beauty. Now, how does this relate to that river of worry? Well, much of our anxiety comes from resistance. We fight against the current, trying to control things that are fundamentally uncontrollable. The future, other people's opinions, unexpected events. This struggle, this resistance, is like trying to swim upstream against a powerful river. It's exhausting, and often it's futile. As the Tao Te Ching suggests, the softest thing in the world overcomes the hardest. Sometimes, yielding, accepting, and flowing with the current is the most powerful approach. It's about finding the ease within the challenge, rather than constantly battling against it. Let's dive a bit deeper into how we can actually use these Taoist ideas to find some relief from anxiety. A key concept here is Wu Wei. It's often translated as non-action, but that's a bit misleading. It's not about doing nothing. It's about effortless action, or non-forcing. It's about aligning ourselves with the natural course of things, rather than constantly interfering. Think of a gardener. They can't force a seed to sprout faster than nature allows. They can, however, create the right conditions: fertile soil, sunlight, water. They nurture the plant, but they don't try to control its growth. Or imagine steering a sailboat. A skilled sailor doesn't fight against the wind and the waves. They use them, adjusting the sails to harness the natural forces and guide the boat towards its destination. So much of our anxiety comes from this deep-seated need to control. We worry about future outcomes, obsess over what other people think of us, and try to micromanage every detail of our lives. But the truth is, much of life is simply beyond our control. Trying to force things to be a certain way, constantly worrying about what-ifs. You is like trying to force that plant to grow faster or rowing directly against a powerful current. It creates tension, resistance, and ultimately a lot of unnecessary suffering. Wu Wei invites us to question this need for constant control. To ask ourselves, where am I trying to force things? Where can I let go and trust the natural unfolding of events? Another powerful concept from Taoism that speaks directly to anxiety is Pu, often symbolized by the uncarved block. Imagine a piece of wood, untouched, in its natural state. It hasn't been shaped or molded into anything specific yet. It simply is. Pu represents this return to our original, unconditioned state, a state of simplicity, wholeness, and acceptance of imperfections. Think about a young child, completely absorbed in play. They're not worried about what others think. They're not striving for perfection. They're simply present, experiencing the joy of the moment. That's the essence of Pu. Now consider how much of our anxiety is fueled by the pursuit of perfection. We strive for the perfect outcome, the perfect relationship, the perfect career, even the perfect self. We set these incredibly high, often unrealistic expectations for ourselves and the world around us. And when things inevitably fall short, because, let's face it, life is inherently imperfect, we feel anxious, stressed, and inadequate. Pu invites us to embrace imperfection, to let go of this relentless striving for an idealized version of reality. It's about recognizing our inherent worth, just as we are, flaws and all. It's about accepting that life unfolds in its own way and that this unfolding is beautiful, even in its messiness. It's not about giving up or settling for less. It's about releasing the need to control every detail and finding peace in the present moment, exactly as it is. At the heart of Taoism lies the concept of the Tao, the underlying principle of the universe, the natural order of all things. It's a flow, a rhythm, a way that things are. And a lot of our anxiety arises from forgetting this, from disconnecting from this natural order. We get so caught up in our individual worries and struggles that we lose sight of the bigger picture. Think about the seasons. Spring turns to summer, summer to autumn, autumn to winter. It's a continuous cycle, a natural progression. We don't worry that summer might not arrive or that autumn will be skipped. We trust in this natural rhythm. Or consider your breath. It happens automatically, without conscious effort. You inhale, you exhale. Do you lie awake at night, anxiously wondering if your next breath will come? Most likely not. You trust in this fundamental process of life. A seed planted in the ground follows its own inherent timetable. It sprouts, it grows, it blossoms, all in its own time. We don't try to force it to unfold faster. We understand that there's a natural process at work. Trusting the Tao is about recognizing this same natural order in our own lives. It's about understanding that there's a flow to things, a rhythm, even in the midst of challenges and uncertainties. It's about letting go of the need to control every detail and trusting that, even when things feel chaotic, there's a larger pattern at play. It's about finding a sense of groundedness and reassurance in the natural unfolding of life. So how do we put all of this into practice? How do we actually cultivate this sense of flow, acceptance, and trust in our daily lives? The good news is, there are many simple yet powerful practices that can help us reconnect with the Taoist principles we've discussed and find a greater sense of inner stillness. One of the most fundamental is mindful breathing. Simply taking a few moments each day to focus on your breath, the rise and fall of your chest, the sensation of air entering and leaving your body, can be incredibly grounding. It anchors you to the present moment, connecting you to the natural rhythm of your own being. That inherent Zion, meditation is another powerful tool. It's not about emptying your mind completely. It's about practicing non-judgmental observation of your thoughts. You simply notice them, like clouds passing in the sky, without getting caught up in them, without trying to control or change them. This is a direct application of Wu Wei, allowing thoughts to arise and pass without interference. Spending time in nature is also deeply restorative. Observe the trees, the water, the sky, the animals. Notice the inherent flow, the natural order, the effortless unfolding of life. This connects you to both Ziran and Di, the naturalness of the world and the inherent virtue of all living things. Journaling can be a wonderful way to explore your anxious thoughts without feeling the need to fix them. Simply write down what you're feeling, without judgment or censorship. This can help you embrace the uncarved block, that poo, by accepting your thoughts and feelings as they are, without trying to mold them into something else. Finally, consider simplifying your schedule. Are there unnecessary tasks, commitments, or obligations that are adding to your stress and anxiety? Letting go of these can create space for more ease and flow in your life. These are just a few starting points. The key is to find practices that resonate with you and to incorporate them into your daily routine, even if it's just for a few minutes each day. Remember, it's a journey, not a destination. Be patient with yourself and celebrate the small steps you take towards cultivating inner stillness and letting go of anxiety. So, let's come back to that river of worry we started with. Remember the rushing, turbulent waters, the feeling of being overwhelmed? By understanding and applying these Taoist principles, embracing Ziran, De Wu Wei, and Pu, we can begin to navigate that river with greater ease. We can learn to flow with the current rather than constantly fighting against it. We can accept the imperfections of life, cultivate inner stillness, and find a sense of trust in the natural unfolding of events. This isn't about magically eliminating anxiety altogether. It's about changing our relationship to it. It's about recognizing that anxiety is a part of life, but it doesn't have to control us. It's a journey of self-discovery, an ongoing practice of letting go, and a path towards greater peace and resilience. The river may still be flowing, but we're learning to navigate it with more skill, more grace, and more confidence. While letting go of anxiety is a powerful step, many of us find that the root of our worries lies in constant overthinking. This incessant mental chatter, those endless what-ifs and hypothetical scenarios, can feel impossible to stop, creating a vicious cycle of anxiety and stress. It's like the river of worry is being fed by a constant stream of mental noise. How can we quiet this inner turmoil? How can we use Taoist principles to break free from the grip of overthinking and find true mental peace? The clarity that comes from a still mind? Join us in the next video where we'll explore how Taoism helps you quiet the mind and stop overthinking instantly.